us pay the fuel. If they're saying, oh wait, we have to pay for the fuel, well, our rates didn't accommodate that accordingly.
So what was the rate before that?
I don't remember because it was a month ago now. I've been looking at this, how long? Too many numbers.
So you're right with the costs. They're recouping some of that cost, but we're still receiving 100% back for all the fuel that we.
Like I said, based off our analysis, we are receiving more back in our anticipated fuel costs than what they charge us. They volunteer costs.
So it's a 4-hour minimum on the substitute right now.
Without seeing it from me.
With a 2-hour person did the trip minimum 2 hours, so if they did 2 trips in a day.
It should have a rate sheet attached. I don't see. So I would look at their athletic, because that was another one that we just approved back in the fall. That would have the exact same rate sheets attached. That was the rate sheets in the fall.
I live by the motto, it doesn't hurt to ask. And I think that if we go back to them with that the board would like to see a lower rate, because I don't know how the board member would find it ideal to have a lower rate. I don't know why how that would hurt anything.
So I'll go back and ask you for a low rate. Yeah,
So the answer is no on the fuel.
that's it.
And they know the answer.
So I'm saying is, that was going to be my 2 questions. Okay, question 1 is, are we going back and saying, give us a new price, it's too high, with existing terms? If that's agreeable, then they can lower the rates. If they counter and say, we need something else in return for lower rates, that's the secondary factor that they can say, no, this is our best rate, if you want us to get more, you have to get something back.
Okay, we'll let them buy our buses.
That's something that was something that was not in the RFP.
Yeah.
So that
Here, give us the lowest rate and buy us
we
5
could-
more buses.
we could ask them to do that.
But you do dance outside the dance floor when you do that.
Right.
I don't know that we can predict. I think that the negotiations are dynamic, and I think that we would want to answer on the rate before the board session, and the board make a decision on the negotiation.
So if you agree to allow us to negotiate
Sure.
and ask these
So
questions.
what about the 7 years? What
Well,
about the
I
7 years?
currently have that we would like to have a shorter term. I've heard the options of 3 years.
Well,
the option
not
of
just a
5.
shorter term, but with the option to
Extend.
extend.
Yeah.
Well,
like-
breaking it up, not necessarily saying it's just a 3-year contract, but 3 years, and then we have a chance to get out. And it's 3, 2, and 2. They're still getting their 7 years, but we've got 2 windows that we could opt out. Most likely, the district's just going to opt to extend if Price is doing a good job, which is a motivator to Price to do a good job for these first 3 years, and then the following 2.
If this committee wishes us to bring about something of that nature, like a checklist at some certain term, 3-year, 4-year, whatever marker you wish, we can ask that, we can look at that.
If that ask gets kicked out like in 1.5 seconds in the negotiations, maybe you could go back to a 5, with a 1-year review, 1-year review. You still have your 7. That gives them a little more time.
Absolutely, I believe that we can go through negotiations with them.
Steve, don't feel more counter already. I'm afraid that Price isn't listening to this.
Oh,
It's not recorded.
Well,
Or it's recorded.
Gary, don't post that till after they call.
They'll get it tomorrow.
I won't, till they,
We can for negotiations.
Well, I think right now, we want to,
you know, it doesn't matter. The
Because we
school
can
does.
hash out these terms and
It's listening to audio.
more or less, we can do it our.
Cat's out of the bag already, you probably live stream.
The other thing that I think, before, if we're going to get to an executive session, I think this we can do, I'd like to see some more assurance for the drivers.
Okay.
I think that, it should be language that says that they have to interview and give our drivers a tentative or a contingent offer. That's contingent on signing the agreement so that they know that they're getting paid.
Would we give them time to interview them? Or they just contingent, give an offer prior to the driver's meeting?
I think that's what we're June 16th.
What I'm saying is that we're giving them authority to meet with our drivers and interview them.
And could they come here and interview our drivers?
That's what I was gonna ask, because they currently would not be allowed to do that without our permission.
Right, we would have to provide them permission to be able to come here and hold it.
I just thought, what if we have, I mean, that's a short window, what if drivers are on vacation?
Right.
If there's something, we have to give them permission, because it is summer, too. Drivers are not expected to be here. So then we have to, it's just.
Again, I'll give a mantra, it's not a, you can ask.
Ask, I mean, there's technology, there's
We're just
Zoom.
saying, it sounds like they have the option of saying, no, they don't want some of our drivers.
The same thing as our drivers can say no to Christ, because it's not fit for either party.
Well,
Just like interview.
the logic of all of this, again, is who knows our routes best? Our
That's why we
drivers.
must protect the driver.
That's why we want to make sure they get
Correct.
it.
Christ coming in already knows that we have excellent drivers, or they would not be here. So this statement that's in, I believe is strong to say, they're gonna hire our drivers, without saying we're gonna hire drivers sight unseen. You certainly are gonna go out and find a car sight unseen, or agree to a service that you have in your own sight unseen. You're gonna wanna at least talk with them and make sure that, yep, we got it. Check the box, check
It
the
can
box,
be
we're
asked.
fine.
It
Okay,
can ask
yep.
and say, how do you feel about if we could have this type of money, and see how they respond.
Absolutely. I'm not afraid to ask.
Yeah, we'd rather it be up to the driver to not want to, rather than say five and they don't get it.
Right.
But it needs to be on them. So is there any other questions, real quick, we're talking about?
We still need it. That was earlier on, I
Yeah.
want to make sure we still.
That was early on, if we need to discuss personnel.
There was some questions about personnel. If you all want those questions answered, then we can go into an executive session. Okay. Have an executive session?
As long as it's before CCP.
Now you're going to.
No, they're.
You know, kind of like this retired and what I,
We give them 40%
but,
of the value.
of what you have left.
I think that they're making their own purpose on board.
If you take them, you get 100%.
Right, right. Okay,
It's too late
yeah,
now.
we're too late now.
It's too late.
All right,
Well, it's not like that.
you're gonna say that, huh?
So you're gonna gavel.
Because we have the
Yeah.
taxes going up for
Okay, we're meeting back in session, and there was no deliberation.
Executive session about personnel.
Yeah, executive session about personnel, and we're continuing on this meeting.
Perfect.
Okay. All right.
I think we're done because of final budget.
Yeah, so just since we paused, other than the, I think I have three, how many?
Three things. We can find it.
No, I'm saying we did three things.
You're gonna go
So
back
the rate,
and
the
ask.
rate, the number of years, so we can.
Term with extensions.
Yep, and then the language surrounding how they hire our
Correct.
drivers.
Those are the three
Is there any
things.
others?
Yeah, and we're not necessarily saying anything else other than with the term, years. We want everything to stay the same unless it's 100%. We just want the option of, well, not the.
We want some assurances and a checklist.
There was another thing that I almost forgot about, and it was, part about the 35% if we go under 18.
Yeah.
But we're not doing it,
Yeah.
didn't we say that?
Correct. I've had an ad-length conversation with Laura, and she gave me assurances that that would be be able to accommodate for 7 years. But like we've always talked about, we can go back and
What if we just made it 16 or 17, at least give us a little bit of flexibility?
we can ask.
And does that lock in a certain amount of buses, a certain amount of vans? And
So
if we dropped a bus and picked up a
So
van?
obviously, it says in here how many, but within our conversation, yes. As long as the total number doesn't change, we can mix and match it. So that if we pick 16 and we say 11 buses and 5 vans, we can say it's 10 buses and 6, and we can,
The number, it could be interfaced.
as long
between
as
buses.
the 18 stays 18.
Is it 18 or 16?
It's currently 18. You close it out, you can change it, but yes, as long as we stay the 18, we will do.
So I'll pull the Steve here. All from 16 and our count, and our compromise would be 17.
Don't give up our strategy.
All right.
I have a request.
Nobody posted.
So the, when we ask for like a cost analysis and stuff, so we can make data-driven decisions, I would like that to be part of the agenda so that the public can see it too,
Sure.
rather than just us seeing it. Like, it could be up all,
I
everything
can,
we see,
if
I'd like
that's
them
what
to
the
get.
committee wants, I can add it to this presentation after. Can't obviously add it.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, if it's something that we can see and the public
Yeah,
can see, I'd
yeah,
like them to
yeah.
see, so
But
they
that's something
know what
you
we're
want?
talking about and what we're
If
seeing.
that's something you want, I can, like I said, I can add this exact handout.
Yeah,
It's just a,
I,
it's a
but
question
change
that.
it to the 4.5 in the header.
Sure, yes. I already have my note here to change.
All right, so we as a committee are good.
Tom's got a budget thing.
Oh,
Yes, I
sorry.
have one last thing here. Whoever's,
Gary, can you slide it up?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
so the last thing I talked about was our property casualty insurance. So our general liability, property, vehicle, umbrella, that basically covers the district. I just met with our broker, and the rates are higher than what I anticipated before. So right here, I need to add almost $27,000 to the budget to accommodate this rising rate. So I did put some in, and he came back and he marketed, I believe, 6 or 7 different companies. This is the most favorable one, which is our existing existing carrier. So that's gonna have to be added, because we have to have these insurance levels that I wanted to make the community aware. And then obviously transportation, we had the discussion is if we would outsource transportation, we would reduce that premium value, which is correlated into this factoring from year 1 out. So that was part of the vehicle sale portion cost. You can see that $12,000 breakdown. So that would lower our insurance rate, but that would take until we sold the entire fleet. I just want to make it clear that's going to change from what was in the proposed budget and in transportation.
And this addition to the budget will come from where?
That will be the committee's support from the fund balance of the area. I've heard loud and clear we want to do 0%, the fund balance, so we have a combination.
Yep. So, you good on that?
Questions about that?
And then, obviously, we had the budget factors, but that would be paused pending discussions, because that's based off of this contract for the next year. And I just want to make aware from the proposed budget, the autism classroom and the iPad was not in there, so that'll be a reflection as well. Those are the 3 items we were talking about: the general liability, property insurance, technology, iPad, and all. It's changed from the proposed, but they were board approved at the name. So they were pending board approval, but I didn't approve them. In case they didn't get approved, now that they are, they did. I believe that's my last. There's no questions surrounding the minor changes in the budget. I will inform the rest of the board at the work session of these changes so they're aware. If we get to a final conclusion of the work session, I will change pending whatever happens with the transportation here within the budget to accommodate these funding aspects.
Okay. Any other thoughts or questions? Okay. The FP&S committee met on May 28th to receive information including involved personnel. No deliberations occurred since this session was held for information purposes only and did not involve deliberations. It was consistent with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court decision in Smith versus Township of Richmond.